Hey folks, Jason here with another quick music theory tip. This one is to help students who are getting ready for the spring semester of music theory class and are reviewing their major scales and those relative minor scales. So in this video I'm going to break down how to move from a relative major scale to find its relative minor, and then vice versa, how to move from a minor scale to find its relative major scale. So let's start with a major scale. Let's use C major as an example. You can think in terms of note names: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Scale degrees: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to 1. Or if you use solfege, you could do that as well. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, back to do. Right? However you think about it, the important thing to remember is that you can find the relative minor to any major scale if you know the notes in a major scale by simply going to the sixth note of that major scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sixth scale degree or sixth note of C major, A, is also the starting note of C major's relative minor. So C major has a relative minor of A minor because the sixth note of the major scale gives us the starting note of the relative minor. Now let's say you're like, okay, that's great, Jason, but there's some major scales I'm still reviewing and don't quite have committed to memory. How do I still find the relative minor if I don't know all the notes of the major scale? So one thing you can do is use the interval of a minor third to help you. We're going to start on the first note of a major scale. We'll use C again as an example. And you can go down a whole step plus a half step. A whole step plus a half step, of course, is a minor third. So if we go down a whole step plus a half step, that gives us the note A. Again, same answer as we got before. Keep in mind that you don't have to do that particular order of whole step plus half step. You could also do half step plus whole step. You're going to get the same answer. It's just some combination of half step or whole step. Whatever the order is doesn't really matter. So that's how we find, or those are two ways I should say, that we find the relative minor to a major scale. If you're doing the inverse, if you're trying to find the relative major scale to a minor scale, very simple. It's basically the inverse of what we just did. Let's say somebody says, hey, we're in the key of A minor, and you're like, well, okay, I know the starting note is A because it's A minor, but I don't really remember what the other notes of the scale are. All you have to do is say, okay, let me think about what the notes of the relative major are. Right? So you can say, okay, what's a minor third above A? C. Oh, so C is the relative major. Got it. So an A natural minor is all the same notes as C major, just starting on A. But let's say at this point you don't know what the notes of a C major scale are. You can always use an interval-based pattern as well. So remember that in a major scale, we do whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, right? You can use this pattern for a natural minor scale, which is going to be whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. Whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. These are not the end-all be-all, but these are some commonly used strategies to find the relative minor scale to a major scale and the relative major scale to a minor scale.